So guys, can we have a round of applause for Demi, Markogiannaki, Reteach Me? Thank you for joining us, Demi. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Yeah, great audience this evening, isn't it? Yeah, great turnout, so thank you again, guys. So Demi, maybe you can share your story with our audience this evening, where you started off as to where you got to now.
Yeah, so the business has been running for about 7 years. It started straight off after I finished university here. So I'm originally from Greece, so you can hear a strong accent. So I came here to do a master's degree in Melbourne University. And after I finished the master's degree, I started working as a freelance writer. I worked as a journalist for a newspaper, and I found it quite boring, so not as challenging as I wanted it to be. And then I decided that maybe I should start a business. At that time, it sounded like a great idea. I think to start a business, you need to be slightly naive, especially the type of business that we started, like a marketplace. But you also need to be passionate, like not to know maybe 100% the risk you're putting yourself into. So maybe identifying a problem and seeing it a bit in a romantic way of like kind of, yes, I can do this, I can solve it. I'm getting there is the best way to go. I would say. I don't know if this is some kind of good advice, but it's definitely how you usually start a business. I think if we knew the difficulties and the pain points, I probably wouldn't have gone there. So I would say that the first thing that we did was we started looking for ideas that I would feel passionate for. I met Kim, so Kim is my business partner. He's just sitting on the second row, he's waving. I knew Kim like 3 years before that, so it was one of my friends from uni, and he was working in a law firm, and he was like slightly not as passionate, I guess, about law, so we both were like, okay, let's do something to be having fun together like we did at uni, and we started a business. So part of it was obviously identifying a problem and trying to find a solution to it. So because we had the idea but we didn't exactly pinpoint the problem, we failed straight away. So one of the first things that we did was we went there and we tried to connect people that are passionate for teaching with people who are passionate for learning. So the vision is still there, it's the same thing, but this time we're actually solving a heap load of problems that they're hiding behind just this. So one of the things that we did wrong starting was we thought we knew what people wanted. So we built a platform, we said everyone just list your classes here, and then we tried to find people to attend the classes, and we couldn't. So we called all our friends and we're like, do you want to do a class? Everyone come into a class. So eventually we tried to like make money out of it, and it didn't work. So that was a good lesson for us. We didn't get to achieve anything, and that was like maybe the first like 5-6 months. And we said, let's go back into the drawing board and try and find a solution for how to make this work. So we interviewed about 100 people who were running classes, and we just listened. So one of the main things that I would suggest that someone that wants to start a business to do is to listen. So listen, identify what are the actual problems that people are having, whether they are the people that you're trying to service or your customers, the people you're trying to target, and understand what are the pain points for them and draw on their feedback and create a solution that will make sure that we solve all these issues that they're having. And that's what we did. And then that was the first time I actually felt that I was actually solving a problem, because people were willing to give me money for the solution that I had. Up until then, every time I was trying to sell something or invite people to participate in the class or like list on We Teach Me, there was this feeling that I was like, why would they want to do this? And I think just that gut feeling of questioning your own business is not a good thing. So the moment that you feel that you're proud of what you have in front of you, the moment that you feel that here it is, I have built something, and someone is willing to say, oh my God, this is actually really helpful to what I'm trying to achieve, and I'm willing to pay for it, then you just have the beginning of a business.
Great stuff, Demi. So that beginning of the business then, and obviously taking out that listening experience and obviously putting that back into the business, in terms of the skill sets and the partners with Kim, how did you guys then realize that, okay, we need to work on the next phase? What was it that how did you divide up your skill sets with the other founders?
Yeah, so the resources were very limited. It was just 4 of us at that point, and we did everything. We did talking to clients, onboarding them. I remember like nights that we would spend onboarding over 60 classes with images, with descriptions, with everything, sitting late at night and saying, how many have you done? I've done 5. We're never gonna finish this. And then like waking up the next morning and talking to more people and doing customer support, and Kim like saying to me, I'm not really good at customer support. I was like, do you know anyone else that could do customer support? And he was like, I can't deal with people that have issues. I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry.
He's got his own, right?
Life is hard. So, it was, I know now it sounds funny, but at that point, we're really tired. So tired. And then I was thinking, one day we won't be this tired anymore. This is not going to happen. You're always going to be tired. But we're just with different issues. So I think at that point, we're really tired with doing everything, and we're looking for a way out. It felt that we're constantly underwater, trying to like get up the top and like draw a breath. And it was really, really tough, but we kept going. And I think we kept going because first we saw that it was working. So that kept us quite passionate to just keep going and pushing through it. Second, we did this, which was quite risky, but we said we're all gonna leave our side jobs because we kept doing something because we weren't getting paid for a year. So we all said, that's it, we're gonna go full time onto this, and if it doesn't work, we're out. So we had to give it all. Otherwise, all this time, all this effort that we had spent would be for nothing, or that's what we were thinking at that time.
So not only seeing those early wins and obviously that inspiring you, but leaving that 9 to 5 and kind of knowing that this was you now fully committed, kind of, how did you then justify that to, were the people in your life at the time? I think we listened to Kim before, and he's obviously got family members that are thinking, are you doing the right thing? Were you faced with any of these dilemmas like, okay, my family are thinking this is way too risky?
Yeah. So my parents didn't know what I was doing for the first maybe 3 years after I finished university. So my parents are quite traditional, they're great people. They are both professionals, they have nothing to do with business. So I would go back and I'd be like, well, we have a platform that is online and we're trying to connect people that would like to teach with people that would like to learn. They would be like, where are you working from? I'd be like, well, we work from a library in the city. And they'll be like, okay, so how much money are you making? We're not making any money. So they kind of thought I had gone crazy. Actually, it was the first time they visited after 4 years of me being in Australia. They came to see if I'm actually okay or if I've gone completely mental. And then they decided, it's her life. We'll let her make her own mistakes. The first time they realized what I was doing was when I won one of these awards of being an entrepreneur. Amongst top female entrepreneurs, and then the Greek media picked it up, and I ended up being in a local newspaper, and then my parents were like, oh, okay, this is what she's doing. up until then, it was really hard for me to explain because technologically they're not extremely advanced, but also it was just really hard at that point for them to understand. So really hard for that. And then I think amongst us, we were just saying, you know, like whoever gets to the bottom first in terms of like money in their bank account will have to like support the other people. So it was just like, okay, let's keep going a little bit of money more, like let's make sure that everyone stays, you know, at the point where they are okay. And obviously we wanted to prioritize the people that we knew they had a family, they were like a little bit more vulnerable amongst us.
And when you got maybe the most significant win and your first big client, how did that feel when you've thought to yourself, you know, we have a little bit more security now? What was that feeling like for you?
It was actually amazing. I remember like my close friends around that time, they would remember me because we are a ticketing platform, we could actually see the number of tickets like getting in. So like we'll have like the first 3 tickets, I'd be like, tickets, tickets. So we would like sit there and actually count the number of tickets. So it would be like 5 tickets. Like now I would never be able, like we had made the system so you could actually see the tickets coming in, and we would like have a success dance for every person that would actually pick up the phone and would say to me, okay, I'm interested in this, I would like to meet you. And then I would just be like, success dance. I'm gonna see that person, even though that was not a client yet, because I was cold calling, which is a really, really hard thing to do, especially when you don't have a client that is already there. So like I would call people and people would be like, well, who are you working with? And I'd be like, no one, you were gonna be one of our first clients. Not that exciting for them. So I think it was just these first few client meetings and then trusting us and saying what you're doing seems like could fit my business. Just such a strong feeling to feel that, yes, someone said yes.
And obviously those early conversions as well, you're selling that on the vision and converting people on that problem. So those people, those sort of clients are still with us today, which is absolutely amazing. It proves over the test of time that this, you know, it's the problem is being solved. So how did you communicate that vision initially? What did you say to people?
Again, there were 2 things. First, we listened. We understood, and like I often see businesses popping up which are competitors to what we do, and sometimes they approach me to ask me, hey, you know, how did you manage to get off the ground? Like I found like marketplace is quite difficult. And I think it's understanding really what are the pain points, being able to listen and not trying to just sell someone what you have created, but actually trying to understand, being there for them. You become a partner for them. You become the place where they would complain for the things that they're not going right in the business. They would be a friend, a partner, you'll be their support. In a situation like that's what we were, obviously it depends on the business you're running, but that's what we have been for them. And that makes it even more important for them to feel that they belong to a community, that they have someone that they can talk to and that they would listen, that they're actually interested in what they have to say and willing to put the effort and the time to help them grow their businesses, make them sustainable, solve their pain points and make it happen, I guess.
Awesome. And we're quite a diverse company. I'd like to say that we can celebrate that. And obviously we're almost 50-50, I think, male to female employees in a tech company. So can you talk about the early stages? Obviously you were the only female employee, and what your experiences were as a female entrepreneur.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing, and I don't have any horror stories on my side. I've been respected by like the people that I've been dealing with, and I think that happens maybe because I'm quite assertive. Maybe that's the Greek background or something like that. Like I know about what I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, then I try to be quiet and listen or learn. I guess like I've been approached quite a lot by girls that they're not sure about what they're doing, or they feel that they won't be taken seriously, and I tend to say to them that you just need to push through. Like we tend to be emotional, but we also tend to be having other qualities that, at least for me, like from like the people who, like for example, in my company, it's like Kim, Teng, and myself are currently the founders, and sometimes I just go around and say, hey guys, like I think you should change the perspective and see it from a different point of view. And I think it doesn't really matter who you are, the country you're coming from, if you're a girl or a guy or anything like this. I think what matters is what you bring into the company, what you bring, your perspective, and everything is valuable, every opinion is valuable. And I think a lesson that I've learned is it doesn't matter who you are, running a business will toughen you up. Sometimes I would get really upset, like Kim would like be able to tell you, like on the first like these phone calls trying to sell people, I cried a lot, like because people would reject me. They would be like, oh, who are you? Like you have an accent, I don't know, whatever. And I would cry a lot and I'd be very upset, but eventually I would say, what do I have to lose? Like at the end of the day, I'm here, I'm trying to do something good. There's nothing to lose. I'll push through it, I'll toughen up. And the more tough you become, the harder it is for things like that to get through to you. You have bigger expectations of yourself. You're willing to help more people, like you have been helped before, I guess. And I think it's a great lesson for everyone to embrace who they are, whether that is gender or nationality or whatever, because that's what makes them special, and it's a very, very unique perspective to bring into a business.
Excellent. And if we just look at the values of We Teach Me, you know, I don't think first off it was a case of, okay, these are our core values. We've done some work on that and obviously instilled them a little bit more throughout the company. Can you talk a little bit about values and how that helps now to reaffirm our message and our story?
Yeah, so I think setting the values, your vision, your mission, I know it was talked before, and I totally think that's it's core to what you're actually doing. It helps you not only hire the correct team around you, because one of the things that we have learned is always hire on culture. Skills can be acquired, but if you get someone in the team that is going to create problems, you are going to lose from that. People who would follow you, who would push through in difficulties, who would be supportive, who are willing to learn and passionate for what they're doing, they're willing to put the extra effort. Like I don't ask from employees to stay late at night, but like sometimes, you know, there would be an issue and like I would go back home and like people would still be on Slack talking and asking questions and working away, and I'd be like, I feel so lucky to be having a team that is breathing the core values, that putting an extra effort, that are passionate about what they're doing, that they're there. So that to me is extremely valuable, because your business is your team. So it's your clients, it's your team, it's the people that you surround. Just a person by themselves does not make a business. So I think creating that important team around you that would be based on your values, and I would say even principles sometimes, like, because even the feedback that we give is based on these values. When we say thank you to the members of our team, it's based on these values. Everything is actually based on this, and the vision has to be core to what you do so that everyone will be working on the same direction.
Excellent. And would you say, obviously your staff members, are they the proudest moment of your entrepreneurial background or career so far? What would you say is that proudest moment of yours?
That's a hard question. I don't really know. I get a lot of fulfillment by meeting the people that we service. I get extremely excited if I go somewhere and people would seem to know what I'm doing. So like I'll go to a party and someone will be, what are you doing for a living? And then I'll try to explain and I'll be like, oh, they'll be like, this sounds like We Teach Me. And I'll be like, we are We Teach Me. I am We Teach Me. You know, it's just like that heartbeat that you get, like people know what I'm doing. People know who we are. But again, I think like everything that I do, I see it from a humble point of view, if you can say. I don't feel important enough. I feel that I can help people talking from experience, but at the same time, I always see that there is something else to conquer, someone else to help, another issue to solve. So I'm really proud of the team that I have around me. I'm really proud of my business partners. I'm really proud from what we've built today and from the knowledge that I've acquired. But I feel like we're still early on this journey, and there is so much more to conquer.
Yeah, and I think it's that humbleness as well that's allowed you to develop your personal brand without actually putting too much effort into that, I suppose, really, because you've been nominated for a lot of female entrepreneur awards and things like that. And can you talk a little bit about you as away from We Teach Me, and what's opportunities have come your way from that?
Yeah, I think that's partly because we live in an amazing, I guess, our time. This is our time. Like, if you are a woman and you're looking to start a business, this is the best time to do it, because people are willing to listen to you a little bit more than they used to. There was a lot of inequality before, so sometimes when I'm being asked, would you want to be living in another era, I'm thinking, not really, because as a female founder, I find that it's a lot more opportunities that they're open, like a lot more recognition, a lot more support that you get. I'm willing to help anyone, and I've received a lot of help and a lot of support from other female entrepreneurs. And I feel that there are organizations that they're there to support us a lot more, like from just award-giving organizations. Like recently, the AFR was recognized 100 Women of Influence, and that was really great to be part of this, to be nominated as part of this. And I find that our role is to lift people up, to lead, if I can say, younger generations to be less, I guess, fearful to start their own businesses, to achieve the dreams, there is a fear that will always come with something unknown, but it should not be there, because there should be a great support network. And I feel very, very lucky to have an amazing support network of women and of organizations that support us in whatever we're doing. And it's a great time, I guess, to be a woman and trying to achieve things.
Yeah, excellent. So, guys, thank you very much. Demi, Markogiannaki of We Teach Me. Can we have a round of applause? Awesome, Demi. Thank you very much.